Yeah, call meeting to order again?
Yep.
All right, meeting called to order is now 6:24 PM. Town Council meeting 1170 Main Street, Town Council acting as a liquor commission.
Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico,
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
There is a quorum. Reclose exec, or we're good there?
Nope, all set.
Okay, finalizing the.
Solicitor Williamson?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh,
This is the Town Council acting as the local liquor commission pursuant to Title III of the Rhode Island General Laws regarding a matter that was brought to the attention of the town and its clerk through the police department, specifically Detective Lieutenant Malloy, who did an outstanding job as to presenting a concise and comprehensive report and complaint as to what's been going on at 245 Washington Street for the licensee or license holder known as LA Cafe Inc., DBA LA Cafe. This intensive report was formatted into a complaint form by Detective Lieutenant Malloy, and through the town clerk was forwarded to the attention of Mr. Alfred Anzavino, Mr. Kelly, John Kelly, and Mr. Bernero as their agent for service of process on November 26th, 2018. At that point in time, the license holders or licensees were invited to attend a pre-hearing conference which was held in Colonel Knott's office, with Detective Lieutenant Malloy also being in attendance, along with myself and Mary Ann Kelly. Mr. Anzavino did appear with his attorney, Stephanie DeMeo Larrabee, and they are both in attendance tonight. As a result of our meeting and the negotiations, we were able to resolve this matter short of having a hearing, and at this point in time, unless the council has any questions, I would like to basically read into the record the consent judgment that has been agreed to by the parties. There is one amendment. Attorney Larrabee did make the request today as it relates to the time frame in which Mr. Anzavino would make payment of the $2,500 fine. Instead of going 10 business days, he's requesting 20 business days. I told her I really didn't have an objection to that because it would be paid in 2018 prior to the new year, but I told her it would also be the council's decision to do that. So having said that, if I may proceed into reading the consent judgment, unless the council has any questions.
I do have one question, and only fairness to the rest of the council members. That complaint was emailed to me.
Yes.
Okay, the rest of the council did not see that complaint. And unfortunately, when I read the email, I didn't look to see who it was sent to.
Okay.
The only request I have from here on is that the council gets a copy of that emailed to them, and they can read at their leisure. But also, from here on out, if you're gonna email to the council, please, to just me, please email, let me know in the email that it's just to me, and then I can send it off to the rest of the council, or please send it to the entire council so they have record of this, because now they're coming into this meeting tonight with a 97-page report that they've never seen.
If the council so desires, I can read the general synopsis of what the complaints were and the time period involved.
And I did make a personal meeting with Major Knott to get kind of a synopsis as well, though.
So
Because I didn't receive it either, so.
if you want me to put that on the record, I can proceed.
I appreciate that.
This report takes part as from March 1st, 2018 through September 28th, 2018, basically 6 months, wherein the West Warwick Police Department and its officers had on at least 50 instances gone to the bar, ranging from anything from loud music to public drunkenness to a stabbing. In particular, 11 persons were intoxicated to the point of being unable to care for themselves, 28 reports of fights, disturbances, or requests to eject the patron, 17 incidents in which officers requested the West Warwick Fire Department to respond for medical attention related to intoxication or injuries from assaults, 4 reports of loud music or noise that needed to be abated, and 3 incidents of patrons in the bar greater than 1/2 hour after the closing time. That is not limited as to what occurred after September 28th, so there's been an ongoing problem. Back in 2016, I believe former Colonel Richard Silver did have a meeting with Mr. Anzavino. As a result of that meeting, things did quiet down somewhat, but then they just emerged. So after the discussion we had with not only Mr. Anzavino and his attorney as to what steps they're going to take, we feel that this is in the best interest of not only the town, protecting its interest and protecting its citizens, but also protecting his business. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, if I could, I read into the record the consent judgment. There's going to be two documents filed. One's going to be the consent judgment, and there's also going to be an amended resolution for the town council. But I'll read as follows. Whereas the town of West Warwick, acting through its duly authorized agent, that being the West Warwick Police Department, did cause to file a complaint against the license holder LA Cafe and its principals, Alfred Enzavino, Corporate Vice President, and Michael J. Kelly, Corporate President. Whereas notice was provided to the principals, Alfred Enzavino and Michael J. Kelly, along with the registered agent for service of process, John S. Brunero Jr. Esquire, on November 26, 2018. Whereas the license holder LA Cafe, through its principals, were invited to attend a pre-hiring conference to discuss the complaint and to seek resolution without a hearing. Whereas the town, through its clerk, solicitor, and police chief, and the license holder LA Cafe being represented by Alfred Enzavino and its legal counsel Stephanie DeMeo Larrabee, did meet on December 5th, 2018 to discuss the town's complaint, and an offer was made to and accepted by the license holder to resolve the pending complaint against it. Whereas the license holder LA Cafe has accepted the following sanctions to resolve the pending complaint: a 10-day suspension of its liquor license, entertainment license, and any other license to do business in the town of West Warwick at 245 Washington Street. However, that 7 days of said suspension are stayed until further order of the town council, acting as the local liquor commission. That the license holder LA Cafe shall be closed and shut down completely on 3 consecutive days, December 21st, 2018, 12 o'clock a.m. or midnight, until December 24th, 2018, at 12 o'clock a.m. or midnight. That the license holder shall pay a fine in the amount of $2,500 within, again, we had 10 business days, but if the council wants to amend that to 20, we can make that amendment. Number 3, the license holder LA Cafe, through its duly appointed representatives, shall meet with a representative of the West Warwick Police Department twice a month to update the town on any coming events at the establishment located at 245 Washington Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. The West Warwick Police Department will address with the license holder the need to have a police detail or a private security detail as needed based upon the event. That this complaint resolution and judgment shall be kept on file with the town of West Warwick for a period of 3 years from December 11th, 2018. That the license holder LA Cafe Inc., DBA LA Cafe, by and through its agents, consents and agrees to this consent judgment and sanctions, and waives and gives up any right to appeal this consent judgment to any court within the Rhode Island Uniform Court System or any other administrative tribunal or commission within the state of Rhode Island. If there's any questions, I will gladly
Any
answer them.
questions for the solicitor?
The only issue before the council right now would be is to extend the period of time at the request of Attorney DeMeo Larrabee from 10 business days to 20 business days.
Does anybody have a
I'm
problem?
fine with that.
Thank
Then we make that 20 business days.
you. Yes.
I'm just going to make an amendment on this document.
Mr. Williamson, the only other, I know we had mentioned that possibly instead of meeting, we could also do emailings for the discussions with police unless warranted by the police to do the actual meetings in person twice a month.
I think we can leave both the representative of the police department and Mr. Enzavino and or Mr. Kelly to, just as long as the parties are apprised of the fact of what's going on. I don't care if the meeting is going to be in person or by email.
Okay.
Colonel, if you have anything to add?
At least for the first 2, I prefer that
In person.
Rachel meeting or whoever is in
Sure.
that position.
Do you have any objection to that?
No objection at all,
Okay.
thank you.
So as far as the contact, just as long as you remain in contact after those first 2 meetings, if an in-person contact is required, then do that. If not, you guys can communicate by phone, text message, or emails.
Okay, great, thank
Okay.
you.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
We're giving 20 days. When does that begin?
Today.
Tomorrow. I mean, today's over.
Well, tomorrow will be day number 1.
Tomorrow's day?
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes,
day one.
tomorrow's day number 1.
Thanks.
So I've got these documents. If we could have Mr. Enzavino come up along with Stephanie and sign that, and then copies can be
But we
made
approached
available.
it.
Yes. President Goslin, if you could sign that on behalf of the town council.
I know you're a lefty.
Amended.
Yes. And at this time, I would request that the town clerk,
You want me to send out copies?
yes, provide copies of the resolution to the town council, then she can read the resolution into the record with the change as it relates to the,
Just it's 20
from the
days,
10 business days to 20 business days.
starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, yes.
Read.
Go ahead.
Subject, show cause hearing, whereas that due to incidents at the below listed establishment, the chief of police requested that the show cause hearing process be commenced, and whereas that on December 5th, 2018, the below listed establishment met with the town solicitor, chief of police, and the town clerk, acting as liquor licensing commissioner as part of the pre-show cause hearing process, and whereas because of that meeting, the town solicitor, chief of police, and the town clerk are recommending in lieu of formal show cause hearings that the town council approve the following penalties which the following establishment concurs with. LA Cafe Inc., 245 Washington Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island, 02893. Sanctions, $2,500 fine payable within 10 business days. 20 business days, I'm sorry. Something else. 20 business days. License suspension, 10 days of closing of the entire business, 7 days closing of said sanction shall be stayed until further order of the town council, sitting as the local liquor license commission. 3 days suspended, shut down completely from December 21st at 12 a.m. until December 24th at 12 a.m. 6 months evaluation. Owner will meet with police 2 times per month with update on upcoming events. Police department will address with owner the need for police or private detail as needed by event. This incident and resolution shall be kept on file for 3 years from the date of this resolution. Passed and approved on this 11th day of December 2018.
Do I have a motion to move?
Motion to move?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you
Mr.
very much, guys.
President, if you could sign that with the change, or do you want to sign this one, then we get those? Sign this one. Mary Ann, if you could sign this, then we can give copies to the attorney, Camille Larrabee.
10 minutes,
You go to adjourn this meeting and then go into public. Okay?
Okay, so,
Yes.
So you-
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're done. He's just
Have a
not,
good night.
he's not done.
So the hearing part of it is done, and then we'll go back into the, town council.
okay, David, you need a motion to adjourn the show cause hearing?
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You're all set. Have a good night. All right. Let me know when you're ready to do this again.
I'm just waiting for Tim.
You don't need him.
Go. We just go and finish the other agenda. Call that back to order.
Meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, December 11th. It is now 6:37 PM. Town Council meeting in Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. And roll call.
Roll call's already been called for this meeting. It was just
Okay.
called in and
And,
continued. So
all right, so we have number 2, finalizing the process for the appointment of the police chief. Mr. Manager?
As you know, Colonel McNair retired. Major Knott was appointed as the interim chief. Throughout the process we followed was a recruitment, a panel representing a town administrator, a police chief, HR director, and I reviewed interviewed 4 candidates. Based upon that discussion afterwards, 3 candidates were recommended for further consideration. I interviewed all 3 of those candidates extensively, and now I'm ready to make a recommendation to the town council. And again, by charter, the council is the appointing authority. The recommendation comes from the manager, and the council is appointing authority. With the fire chief's selection, I brought the top 2 candidates in an executive session to discuss those qualifications with the council. The reason for that, from my perspective, that I would not want to recommend a candidate to the council that the council may not approve of, publicly and embarrass a candidate. So with the appointing authority, I felt that was appropriate. So at this time, with the new council, just sort of discuss that issue and see if the council wants to continue with that process or something different as we finalize this process for the selection of the chief of police.
Well, one thing that I'd like to see is, all right, so you have 3 names right now. Can we have an executive session, say, next week to do what we did with fire, and you bring those 3 names, and then I think the town council, if you bring those 3 names and you give us their 1, 2, and 3, and the council can look at it and say, do we want to interview, or are we happy with your choice? Or, I think that's the fairest way of doing it, the same way we did the fire. And I know, Mary Beth, you weren't here for that, but, again, if you can tell us your opinions, your feelings, why you chose who you chose in those rankings, and then we can determine whether or not if we want to go further and interview them, or we can agree, we might agree or agree with somebody on that list, but,
That's fine.
So we would get resumes and/or backup material that you used to make that decision, so we could look at that before the executive session. That'd be great.
does anybody have an issue with
No,
that?
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
So 6 o'clock next Tuesday then, for executive session, correct?
However long you think it's gonna be.
Or 6:30, whatever.
6 or 6:30.
All
How long do you think you need to? 6:15?
Well, that's going to be the only item on the agenda.
It's gonna be the only
special
item
meeting.
on-
So whatever time is,
Well,
council
you
wants.
can, what do you think it's gonna take you to?
How long are you gonna need?
Yeah, how long are you gonna need to explain these 3 candidates to us?
Probably say maybe half an hour or so.
All right,
Then
so
we're gonna have to
6:30.
discuss it. We're gonna discuss it
So
at that point.
6:15, we'll do 6:15 executive session. Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll do 6:15 executive session, Mary Ann.
Same agenda item?
No, it's not, it's gonna be, it'd be worded the same way you worded the fire chief.
Right.
So you wanna go back to that. It's not, we already discussed the process, so we don't need to put that in executive session.
Right.
You gotta word it properly so we can go into executive session also. Any other discussion on that? Any further discussion from the council?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.
Aye, aye, aye.
Mike's still in.